I had a chance just recently to view in person some options for my next Patek Philippe purchase. And I'll talk through my thought process at this point, and maybe this will help me decide which direction to go and which watch to aim for. I want to think through this decision very carefully and thoughtfully because it will be a sizable purchase. If you remember from my Madrid travel video, I had a chance to try on the 5235R for the very first time, and I was very intrigued when seeing this watch. I had completely overlooked this watch in the catalog because pictures do not do this justice, and I also thought that the 40.5 millimeter case diameter might be too large for my wrist. I liked this watch when I put it on, and when I returned home, I told my local AD that I was interested, and he actually said they are expecting one to come in a few weeks. The great thing about this watch is the completely unique dial design in the regulator style. Nothing else like it in the current catalog. The rose gold and the black colors go so well together, and there's very subtle Patek Philippe branding near 3 o'clock. It has the annual calendar complication and a complex movement inside developed by the Patek Philippe Advanced Research Department. It uses the Pulsomax escapement, which is not used in very many models. And it uses a micro rotor to obtain extra thinness, and the case thickness is only 10 millimeters. But as I remembered when I first tried it on in Spain, it actually wears thicker than it actually is because of this mid-case design. And when I tried it on again today, it still looked slightly large on my wrist, but it was still wearable. That was one negative, but the other negative is that the color of the case and the brushing pattern looks a little bit too similar to my 6119G. They both have a charcoal color with vertical satin brushing. It looks very similar, but there is a slight difference in tone, with the rose gold having a warmer tone than the 6119G. But it's not different enough, and for this reason, and because of the size of the case, I decided to pass on this watch for now. But then he brought out another watch to see, which had also just recently arrived. He took it out of the box, and it was the amazing Golden Ellipse in platinum. And this was exciting to see. I had seen the yellow gold version of the Golden Ellipse before, but when I picked up this platinum version, I could immediately feel the extra weight of this watch. It's a very elegant dress watch, and the blue dial is very deep and vibrant. The watch does not overhang my wrist, but maybe is slightly large on my wrist. This watch does not have spring bars. The watch strap is attached to the head in a different way. The Golden Ellipse is in a category completely on its own, and it would be a very unique addition to my collection. But the platinum version is significantly more expensive than the yellow gold version, and this is the very first time seeing this in person, so I do need some extra time to think about this watch. There was a commenter in a previous video who said that I already have a complications piece and maybe I should pursue a grand complications. And I think that was a good point. A grand complications piece would be an endgame piece, and I think maybe I should start looking at one. And when I looked through the catalog, the one that caught my eye was this one in rose gold. This would be a new dial color for my collection, and it has a really great design. 39 millimeters would be a great size for me. So I asked the AD about this watch, and he said he should get one sometime later this year, but does not know when it would come in. My only reservation is that the dial layout might be too similar to the 4947A, which I already own. The two subdials at top and the moon phase indicator on the bottom. By the way, I still am enjoying my 4947A. It's a great size for my wrist. I love that dial design and that dial color, but I do want to try this out on a leather strap. And one mission today was to order a navy blue leather strap, which I was able to do, but it might take several months for that to come in. But let me know in the comments if this dial layout from the Perpetual Calendar 5327R would look too similar to my annual calendar 4947A. There's so much variety in the catalog, I don't want to get anything too similar to what I already have. I mentioned this concern to my AD, and he said they do have another perpetual calendar on display in a salmon colored dial and asked if I would like to see that. I said I wasn't a big fan of the color of a salmon dial, but he brought it out anyway for me to see. And I'm glad he did because this perpetual calendar looks so much better in person. For so many of their watches, you just can't trust the pictures or photos online or even in their printed catalog because so many of them look so much better in person. This is not really a salmon color dial because I do not see any pink in here. They actually call it a rose gilt dial. But even that name I don't think is very accurate. I see more of a golden tone or more of a sun-kissed tan color. This color is not as loud as a salmon colored dial, but it is slightly bold and unique, and I'm wondering if it is too bold. But this is a perpetual calendar, and this could be an end game piece for me. The 40mm case diameter I think wears well on my wrist. It is thicker than the regulator watch, but it actually wears thinner than that watch. But again, this dial design might be too similar to something I already have. My 5226G has very similar Arabic numerals and the syringe hands, but otherwise is totally different. Let me know in the comments which perpetual calendar watch I should pursue next. I want to stick with my AD and I don't want to go on the secondary market yet. So now I'm left with a few options. Option number one is change my mind and go with the 5235 regulator. Has very advanced movement inside and the rose gold would be different, but the color of the dial would be similar to my 6119G, and this wears larger than it actually is. Option number two, go with something completely different with the golden ellipse. An elegant dress watch, a beautiful blue dial, but pricier than the yellow gold version and borderline large. Option number three, go for the ultimate perpetual calendar. This is a very complicated watch and it fits well on my wrist. The color of the style would be completely new for my collection. Even though it does look better in person, it is still somewhat bold and somewhat risky. And not sure if my collection is ready for a perpetual calendar. I was originally planning on pursuing something like this in 2026 or later. Option number four is waiting for the 5327 perpetual calendar, which should arrive sometime before the end of the year. And option number five is none of the above, and just wait and be patient and see what other watches come in. On the one hand, prices are rising and the economy is declining, and people are getting priced out of the market. So maybe I'll have more options to buy as less people are buying, but I don't have the time to return to the AD very frequently, and I just have to trust that they'll let me know when new watches come in. Let me know in the comments which option would you vote for.